Hey everybody, welcome back to the Vince Salerno podcast. This is episode 90. As always, I'm your host, Vince Salerno. If you guys have not had a chance to watch or listen to episode 89 with my good friend Carmen Schober, I highly recommend you guys check it out. It's a great episode. Honestly, one of my favorites to ever record. Carmen was just such a fun person to talk to about all these different things, about women's issues, women's movies and entertainment, how we can make women's entertainment great again, as the title hints at. It was just such an awesome conversation. So I highly recommend you guys check it out if you want to get riled up for this new era of America that we're in. And I'm very excited, optimistic about the future. I recorded that before Trump's inauguration, so we weren't as, hyped up, riled up. We were optimistic about the future at that time, of course, and we are even more optimistic about the future now. Trump being sworn in as president, J.D. Vance as vice president, just so much good things happening within our government, and it really is going to, I think, reflect positively within the culture. There's just a good feeling in the air. Everyone is feeling good about the future, which is good because we haven't felt good about the future for a while. Not since Trump was elected. And now that Trump is sworn in, he's in office, he's already doing so many wonderful things for this country, for the betterment of the American people, and I am just so happy for it. I'm even happy that he's trying to lend Hollywood some assistance in some way by appointing Mel Gibson, Sylvester Stallone, and Jon Voight as the ambassadors of Hollywood for Trump. It's going to be interesting how that relationship shapes up, because we know Hollywood is no fan of Donald Trump, and I'm sure Trump is no fan of theirs, but I think if Trump is offering a helping hand to this industry that has shown such animosity to him in the past, I think that shows that he is in the spirit of unity. And a lot of people talk about unity. I don't think they really mean it, though. I don't think they really are genuine when they talk about unity, and I feel like Trump is, because he could have very easily gone full retribution on the people who came after him, who attacked him, who tried to kill him, ruin his life over the past several years. And the fact that he is not like going nuts and throwing people in jail, I think it shows like he just wants peace. The people who are truly guilty will have their day, but the people who are just guilty of talk, just vicious talk, we need to put that aside, and we need to just try and come together. And that's what we should want. We should want the people who disagree with us and don't see the fullness of truth, goodness, and beauty that is playing out, or just that plays out in general in life. We should want them to come over to our side. We shouldn't want them to be wandering in the desert, clueless and scared and afraid and anxious. We should want everyone to come together. That's what Christ calls us to do. We're not just meant to call believers to this way of life, but sinners especially. Christ didn't come just to call us who already accept him and embrace him as best we can in our lives. He called for sinners to repent and to follow him. And we need to do the same if we're expected to be like Christ, and if we're expected to impact culture for Christ. If you're adopting that slogan as I have, that's what we're called to do. It's not about calling people who already get it. It's about keeping us accountable, but it's most importantly, it's about calling sinners to a new way of life. So that's my little political spiel. But I'm so happy for President Trump and Vice President Vance. I wish them all the best, and I eagerly await to see what becomes of this country under this new administration, because I think it's going to be very, very exciting. Speaking of very exciting things, we had a lot happen in the world of movie news and entertainment over the past week. First and foremost, I want to talk about the Oscar nominations. There was talk that the Academy Awards this year was going to get delayed, maybe outright canceled. Some people were calling for that because of the LA wildfires, which doesn't seem to be getting any better. Again, keep those people in your prayers. They need assistance, they need help, and pray for those who have already lost their homes, and those few who have unfortunately passed during this difficult time. I haven't seen a lot as far as fatalities go, but still we should be considering and praying for the dead. But praise God for everybody who has survived. And yes, they've lost their material homes or material possessions, but they have their lives and they can rebuild and they can start over. There's always an opportunity to start over. We always need to be hopeful about these things, especially when it seems hopeless. There is always hope. It's never hopeless, never truly. Anyway, sorry, I'm on a positivity whirlwind today. But yes, let's talk about the Academy Awards. There was a lot of good, a lot of bad, a lot of ugly. I wanted to go through the whole list and just break everything down and share with you guys my thoughts on this list. So I have, this is from CBS News. It's just a generic list of everything. So we'll go from starting with Best Picture and we'll work our way down the list. So the nominees for Best Picture are Anora from Neon, The Brutalist from A24. That was an A24. Oh, I didn't know that was an A24 movie. Interesting. A Complete Unknown by Searchlight, Conclave by Focus, gross. Dune Part 2, Warner Brothers, Emilia, Perez, Netflix. I'm Still Here, Sony Classics. Nickel Boys, Amazon MGM. The Substance. Oh, I didn't know Substance got nominated for Best Picture. Good for them. And Wicked, Universal. So I have not seen Anora. I don't really intend to. It just doesn't interest me. I know it's about like a prostitute who gets married and there's a little more to it than just that. But I don't know, any movie that just like very casually shows sex, even if there is a redemptive slant to it, I'm just not interested. I don't think there's any reason for nudity to be shown in movies like this. I think it is bad for the culture. It is essentially pornography on a budget. And I know maybe that's not always the filmmaker's intent. Maybe their intent is a little more pure, but it definitely is not taken that way. Most people are going to consume sexual content as most likely as pornography. And I think that is just not good. And like some of these clips from these overtly sexual films that have sex scenes and nudity are going to probably be on sites like Pornhub, where Pornhub is not banned, because I believe it's banned in certain states, which good for those states. So I don't have any interest in seeing that, subjecting myself to that. The Brutalist, good for it. I have not seen this film. I've heard a lot. I've heard that it's 3 hours with an intermission. I've heard from some people that it's very good, but I've also heard from some people that it's very boring. And some people are like, I'm not going to sit for 3 hours to watch a movie like this. To which I say, look, if we can sit in the theater to watch Avengers Endgame for 3 hours, we can certainly do that for another film. Now, the film has to be good and it has to be entertaining. A film like The Godfather, which I believe is close to 3 hours in runtime, if I'm not mistaken, that's entertaining. It is a very entertaining movie. It's one of the best movies ever made. One of my personal favorites. I don't know if The Brutalist is in line with that. If it's entertaining, I don't know if it's entertaining. It might just be a very slow, methodical drama that just has a lot to say. And, you know, I want to give it a fair shake. You know, we'll see. We'll see. I have yet to see it. I don't know if I'm going to see it, but there are other movies that interest me far more than this. But hey, look, if it gets a win, it might compel me to actually go see it. So we'll see. I'm very happy for this. A Complete Unknown by James Mangold, Timothy Chalamet in the lead role as Bob Dylan. I have not seen this one. I really, really want to, and I have not gotten around to it yet. I have some friends who are writing reviews for it at The Blaze, and they asked me if I was going to write a review, and I said, it all depends on if I see it before the end of the year, and I didn't get around to it, so it's all down to them now. So I'm very happy for that. I can't wait to see this film. A huge fan of James Mangold. I think he constantly gets short-sighted by Hollywood. As much as I fault him for Dial of Destiny, I don't think that film is entirely his fault, but he seems to be sticking to his guns with it, which I think is not the best move. But look, he's a great filmmaker. He's one of my favorites, and I'm willing to forgive and forget, even though it's a hard one to forgive and forget, but we are called to forgive and forget as God commands us. But good for him for Best Picture nomination. Conclave, this anti-Catholic, satanic garbage. Of course, Hollywood nominated this for Best Picture because it's all about the church being more diverse and inclusive, and having a transgender person or a woman become pope. It's absolutely shameful and ridiculous, and of course Hollywood nominated it, and I am not happy about this at all. I hope it doesn't win anything. I hope it does not get any praise of any kind. It sounds like a horrible film with a horrible premise, and I was excited about it. I'll be honest, it visually, cinematically, it looks very well done. Story-wise, content-wise, I'm not interested at all. Okay, this I was very happy about. Dune Part 2. Wow. We're entering a time where Hollywood is starting to recognize films that are not necessarily Oscar bait movies. Dune Part 2 is a excellent, well-made film by an Oscar-nominated director, Denis Villeneuve. I believe he's Oscar-nominated, right? If he's not, that'd be insane. But I'm really happy that this film got nominated for Best Picture because it is that good. It is, to me, the second best movie of the year, which absolutely deserves the nomination. A movie that does not deserve any praise or nominations is this Emilia Perez movie, which has been circulating Twitter and social media for the past several weeks. It's a weird film about a Mexican drug cartel leader who wants to escape the cartels by living out his truth by becoming a woman. His lawyer, Zoe Saldana, goes to the clip that's been circulating around is the scene where she goes to this sex change operation facility to talk to the doctors about what it would take to do the full thing, the full procedure. Just really bad. Sounds really bad. I've not talked to a single person who's seen this movie that actually enjoyed it. It sounds cringy. It sounds bad. Everything I've seen about it just does not look good. It's another one of those films next to Conclave that, even more so, I think, does not deserve the praise it's getting. Hollywood has lost its mind, and it's patting itself on the back for being so diverse and inclusive, and nobody cares because this transgender stuff is just nonsense. It's demonic, and it needs to stop. I've not seen I'm Still Here or Nickel Boys. I've never even heard of those films, but good for them for their nominations. Hopefully they deserve them. I don't know the contents of those films. I'm really happy about The Substance. I haven't seen the film. I know that film has some sexual content as well, which I'm not a fan of, but I do appreciate the themes and the story that the film is tackling. So I might try to see it, but it just depends if there is sexual content in there, and I'm just not even going to bother with it, unfortunately. I was really surprised how much I loved Wicked. And I'm really happy that Wicked is nominated for Best Picture because I think it is that good of a musical. Yes, there's some gay attraction stuff in there. There are some guys who are fawning over the main guy. I forget what his name is, Fierro or something like that. But that's really it. It's not really this woke disaster that people thought it was going to be. People are making claims that because Cynthia Erivo is black and Idina Menzel, who played Elphaba in the musical, is white, this is supposed to be like a statement on racism or something. I don't think so. I think it's a movie. It's based on a musical. The character is green. It doesn't really matter what the person's skin color is because she's green. It just does not matter. I wasn't worried about that. I wasn't thinking about that in the movie. And the story is kind of about, anybody who is considered an outsider. And I'm not trying to add credibility to anybody who is trying to make this comparison to like modern day racism, which is only alive because people seem to want to cling to it. But the story is about people who feel different, who feel ostracized by society, who feel rejected by society because of certain physical attributes, whether it's their skin color, whether it's the way they act, whether it's the way they look. Her being green is kind of a universal representation of any person who's ever felt ostracized or unfairly villainized. Now, I'm not trying to say that I'm not trying to say I support movies that take the villains and make them out to be the good guy or the redemptive one. They're always the good guy. This musical came out before that was even a thing, because I'm not necessarily a fan of shows and movies that nowadays try to justify the actions of the villains. Like, oh, they were actually trying to do the right thing the whole time. They were just misunderstood. I think it works for things like Wicked because it wasn't necessarily about a statement or some sort of political statement or some sort of agenda, or even something like Breaking Bad. It was really just about telling a story about how somebody can either be misconstrued as good or how someone can be drawn to become evil because of the way of the world, or I don't know, various things like that. But I really liked Wicked. I think it was one of the best movies of last year, and I think it more than deserves the nomination for Best Picture. I kind of spent a lot of time on the Best Picture nominees, so we'll try to breeze through some of these as quickly as possible. So next category is Best Director. Sean Baker for Anora, Bradley Colbert for The Brutalist, James Mangold for A Complete Unknown. I don't know how to say this director's name. I'm not even going to try, but the director of Emilia Perez, no. Coralie Fargate, The Substance. This is a solid list. Some of these movies I have not seen and I don't intend to see, especially like specifically Anora or Emilia Perez. The only person whom I'm really excited about there is James Mangold. I have a feeling he's probably not going to win because Hollywood just has a thing against not nominating Mangold or not giving Mangold his Oscars that he deserves. If anything, I think they're probably going to, again, Hollywood's probably going to pat itself on the back, give it to Emilia Perez, or they're going to give it to The Substance. I hope James Mangold, that's the only person I really want to win on that list. Sorry, Sean Baker, I know he's a talented filmmaker as well, but I just don't care about Anora. Best Actress, Cynthia Erivo, Wicked. Karla, Sofia Gascon, Emilia Perez, that's a man. Can you believe this? They nominated a man for Best Actress. Again, this transgender stuff is infiltrate. Like, I can't exactly recall another female performance off the top of my head that deserved a Best Actress nomination, but somebody was gypped because they wanted to nominate a man, because they wanted to be seen as inclusive to the transgender community, which is just wrong on so many levels. I don't need to go into why it's wrong. We all know why transgenderism is so wrong and demonic and needs to be eradicated from this country, and we need to help people who think they are transgender to come to the truth that there are only two genders, male and female. I'm happy Cynthia Erivo got the nomination. She absolutely deserves it. She was great in that movie. Oh, sorry, I didn't even go through the rest of the list. Mikey Madison, Anora, Demi Moore, The Substance, Fernanda Torres, I'm still here. I'm Cynthia Erivo, all the way. Give it to her. Best Actor, Adrian Brody, The Brutalist, Timothée Chalamet, Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes, Conclave, and Sebastian Stan, The Apprentice. Now, this was interesting because Hollywood fought against the release of The Apprentice, which is ironic because it seems like the film was mostly this hit piece against Trump and trying to make him out to... This was kind of like the origin story of Donald Trump, the supervillain, as they made him out to be. And ironically, it's interesting that they decided to give him the Academy Award nomination for Best Actor when I believe he got nominated for a Golden Globe and won for his performance in oh gosh, I don't remember the other film that came out that he did, but it was the one with the guy who was disfigured in the face, and I don't remember that name. It's supposed to be a really good movie. I'm glad to see he's getting recognition. I've not seen The Apprentice. I don't know if I really want to. It's hard to tell whether they are genuinely trying to make a honest portrayal of Donald Trump or if they're just trying to demonize him. Sebastian Stan, based on his comments about the movie, seems to be wanting to trying to stay away from any talk that could be considered leftist or one-sided about Donald Trump. He's just trying to portray him as a character. That's all he sees him as, which I respect him for. admirable, considering he's in Hollywood, and they probably were saying, oh, you can talk however you want about Donald Trump. You can say he's a horrible person or whatever, and he's just like, nope. Because his co-stars certainly didn't hold back, that's for sure. Timothée Chalamet, Bob Dylan, Complete Unknown. Give it to him all day. I haven't seen the movie, but he's the only one on there that I really want to have win, next to Sebastian Stan. Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, if it's that good, maybe he should deserve it. Adrian Brody's a wonderful, underrated actor. He's been in the industry for years. I would love to see him win. Ralph Fiennes for Conclave. Ralph Fiennes is a great actor. He does not deserve to win for Conclave because that movie looks to be garbage. And based on the content, it is. Best Supporting Actress. Monica Barbaro, Complete Unknown. Ariana Grande, Wicked. Felicity Jones, The Brutalist. Isabella Rossellini, Conclave. Nope. And Zoe Saldana, Emilia Perez. Nope. Those last two, nope. I'm sorry, Zoe Saldana, you're a great actress, but you've done much better performances than this Emilia Perez movie. Again, this is Hollywood like patting itself on the back as far as I'm concerned. Felicity Jones for The Brutalist. It's wonderful, great for her. She's a phenomenal actress, and I think she definitely deserves the win if The Brutalist is as good as it is. I would love to see Ariana Grande win for Wicked because she was delightful as Glinda. I loved her performance. It was just gleefully fun. I don't know if that's the right phrase, but it was gleeful and it was fun. Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown. Monica Barbaro, mostly known for her role as Phoenix in Top Gun Maverick. My wife and I are a big fan of hers. Would love to see her win for A Complete Unknown. Complete Unknown all the way. I haven't seen it, but I am rooting for it. Best Supporting Actor. Yura Borisov, Honora. Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain. Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown. Guy Pearce, The Brutalist. And Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice. I think Jeremy Strong was the one who was very vocal against Donald Trump in the interviews that he was doing for the film. So, whatever. I don't care if he wins or not. Guy Pearce for The Brutalist. Guy Pearce is a great actor. Again, same thoughts as I said with Felicity Jones. Great performer. If the performance is worth the nomination, then hopefully it's worth the win. We'll see. Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown all the way. Kieran Culkin, I'd be happy if he got a win. A Real Pain looks kind of like a funny movie. I haven't seen it, but it looks fun. I didn't even know it was up for awards. And I don't know that actor in Honora. Best Original Screenplay. Honora, Sean Baker. The Brutalist, Bradley Colbert and Mona Fosvold. A Real Pain, Jesse Eisenberg. September 5th, Tim Fellbaum and Moritz Binder. And The Substance, Coralie, I'm so sorry, I cannot pronounce this woman's name, Coralie Farget. I have not seen any of these movies. I don't know if the screenplays are worth it, worth the nominations, but that's all I have to say. Best Adapted Screenplay, A Complete Unknown by Jay Cox and James Mangold. Conclave, Peter Stronghan. Emilia Perez, Jacques Ardenard, whatever. Thomas Bindigain and Nicholas Levecchi. Nickel Boys, Ramel Ross, Jocelyn Barnes, and Sing Sing, Clint Bentley, Greg Quaidar, Clarence Malchin, and John Divine G. Whitfield. Wow, that's a lot of writers for 1, 2, 3, 4 writers for one movie. That's honestly shocking to see for a nominated film. But I guess there were 3 writers from Emilia Perez, but that's interesting. Yeah, Complete Unknown all the way. Best International Feature, I'm Still Here, The Girl with the Needle, Emilia Perez. Okay, that's kind of bullcrap. You're going to nominate Emilia Perez for Best International Film and Best Picture? Interesting. I don't know if that's been a rule, a hard, fast rule for all Hollywood films. Like if it's an international film, it can also be nominated for Best Picture. That's kind of weird. Okay, Best Animated Feature. Here we go. Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, baby, and The Wild Robot. Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul all the way. It's the best picture of the year, the best movie of the year. I want it to win. If it goes to The Wild Robot, I have not seen it, but it seems like it's more than worth the nomination given the artistic choices and the story. but Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul, all the way. I would normally vote for Inside Out 2, but Inside Out 2 I don't think was as good as the first film. It's a fine movie. It's a really good movie. I just don't think it is worth a Oscar win for Best Animated Feature. Maybe future Pixar films will get back to rightfully claiming that that nomination like Toy Story 4 did, but I just don't think it was worth it. Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul, all the way. Love the movie. Best movie of the year. Let's go. Best cinematography: The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Emilia, Perez, Maria, Nosferatu. I'd give it to Nosferatu. That movie looks to be excellent as far as the visual language of the film, the cinematography, phenomenal. Best costume design: A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, Wicked. I'd say it'd be between Nosferatu and Wicked. Maybe Gladiator 2, but I don't know. It's tough. It's really between those two, and I think really Wicked is going to take that one. Okay, so I will add a link in the description to the rest of the nominations. I'm not going to go through all of them just because I don't really have strong opinions on a lot of the nominations, a lot of the categories. I wish all the nominees, most of the nominees, the best. I think it's really disgusting and sad that Hollywood is continuing to nominate men for women's awards. I don't think Emilia Perez is worth the hype that it's been given. I don't think it's worth any of the nominations. It just doesn't seem like a good movie at all. I've talked to a lot of people who've seen it, or at least seen more of it than I have, and they don't have good things to say about it. It's a bad movie. And why it's getting all this praise, it's just Hollywood patting itself on the back for getting something diverse and inclusive approved, obviously. So I have no interest in the film or Conclave. I think both those films deserve no nominations, no wins, and I hope that that's reflective of the Academy's voting for that. I'm rooting for Wallace and Gromit, Dune Part 2, and Wicked all the way. I think this is great to see more blockbuster, big event films, tentpole films get more recognition from Hollywood, because those are some of the better films coming out these days. And it is the movies that our generation is talking about. A lot of these big films, these more silent, lesser known films, even like The Brutalist, all due respect, even Emilia Perez, nobody is talking about these in our generation, in the younger generations. So I think Hollywood trying to nominate and recognize films that are in this generation's interest, I think is a good sign. I think it's a good step in the right direction. And let's hope that they continue to go in that direction. Let's hope that more blockbuster, big tentpole films continue to be well enough and well received to receive that recognition. Let's move on to another topic. Let's talk about Star Wars. So this is an exclusive from The Hollywood Reporter. Ryan Gosling is in talks to star in Shawn Levy's Star Wars movie. If the deal makes, this would send the project into hyperdrive after 2 years of development and making it the next Star Wars movie to go into production. The details on this movie are still under wraps. We don't really know much about the film, except that he's been in development on this since 2022 with Jonathan Tropper, who collaborated with Levy on This Is Where I Leave You and The Adam Project. So from what the article says, this was not going to be the next Star Wars film after The Mandalorian and Grogu. This was just another film in development, and when it came into fruition was anyone's guess. But I think Shawn Levy was going to do I think he announced like he was going to do a boy band movie with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. But because Ryan Gosling was interested in this movie, that shifted the timetable of this film. It was already pretty set. It was just a matter of when Shawn Levy's schedule would open up. And now he is open, Ryan Gosling, and now that's putting this movie on the immediate back burner right after The Mandalorian and Grogu. So it looks like this movie is going to roll into pre-production fairly soon and possibly be the next Star Wars film, which is incredibly ironic because we've always thought that it was going to be the Rey movie, and where is this so-called Rey movie? It was announced with a lot of fanfare. Daisy Ridley's attached, and it's been what, 2-3 years of development and writer changes. We'll talk about the new writer that just got hired to rewrite the script again. But that movie seems to not be moving forward because this is taking its place. Now, who is Ryan Gosling going to play? Where is this movie set? I don't know. All we know is that this is disconnected from the Skywalker saga. Maybe it's adjacent to the events of the events between Return of the Jedi and the Force Awakens, as everything seems to be set there, including, well, not everything, but including Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, and The Mandalorian. I recently watched Skeleton Crew. I finished it a couple weeks ago, and I actually liked it. It's not something that's going to shift the needle. It's not mind-blowing, but it's a great little throwback Star Wars series. I think it is probably the closest, next to The Mandalorian, to being in the tone and the vein and the spirit of the original Star Wars, in that it's about these kids who want more, and they go on this larger-than-life adventure and end up being the heroes they've always wanted to be. At least the main character, that's his goal. And there's an interesting twist there with Jude Law's character, who plays a pirate/Jedi, possibly. I'm not going to spoil it for people who actually want to check it out. But it's a really fun series, and it is actually a plus that it disconnects itself from the events of the Skywalker saga. I think that added to my enjoyment. My only criticism is that I wish it was a movie. It's very obvious at certain points that they stretched this series out from what could have possibly was a movie script into a series, and it kind of makes some episodes more boring than others. But I really wish it was a film, because I think it would have been much more received. There would have been a lot more fanfare and hype around it if it was not just thrown on Disney Plus as an 8-episode limited series. I doubt, unfortunately, because of the numbers, it's going to get renewed for a second season, because Acolyte ruined the brand more than I think most people realize. Anyways, I'm not going to go into that whole spiel. But I'm excited about this. I think he's always been one of my favorite filmmakers. I highly respect his hustle in doing family-oriented films. I really appreciate that he always made his films in a way that was family-oriented, but really emotional, really heartfelt. I think about the Night at the Museum films, always having really clear arcs for his characters, and changes and growths and stuff like that. And Deadpool and Wolverine was, I feel like, Shawn Levy completely unchained and unbound to do whatever he wanted, in spite of rating, in spite of audience demographic and stuff like that. Like, he made a really fun, entertaining movie in Deadpool and Wolverine, and one of the best Wolverine films since Logan, honestly. I mean, it really is up there with Logan, and I know most people won't agree with this, but I really like the Wolverine. It might be one of my favorite Wolverine portrayals. I mean, he's done really good stuff, especially in Logan. But Deadpool and Wolverine gave us a version of him that feels familiar because it's Hugh Jackman, but has some unique layers, like very subtle, unique layers to him. And I just really enjoyed the film. It's phenomenal. And it really fuels my excitement for his Star Wars film. And I think he has, I mean, with the way he respected the fans and the way he respected the fans with Deadpool and Wolverine, it doesn't surprise me that he got Star Wars. Well, it kind of does, because Kathleen Kennedy is sort of in charge of the franchise. Who knows if she actually is? I think she's just the figurehead of the company at this point. I don't think she actually has any power, which is why they should just fire her. Anyways, I think him being hired as a director for a new film is a great move, because he's shown that he has respect for the franchise, for the fan base, and I think he's going to deliver something that will hopefully please everybody. We'll see. Speaking of Star Wars films, this just came out today, actually. Let's talk about the fact that Daisy Ridley's Star Wars film has gotten another rewrite with another new writer. According to Hollywood Reporter, another exclusive, Daisy Ridley's Star Wars movie enlists writer George Nolfi. The scribe behind Ocean's 12 is the latest to take on the New Jedi Order. And that's not the official title of the film. It's just what we've been calling it because there is no official title. George Nolfi, he's a great writer. He wrote one of my favorite action movies, The Bourne Ultimatum. He wrote one of the lesser beloved Ocean's movies, Ocean's 12. I actually have a soft spot for Ocean's 12. I think it's a good one. It's definitely not as strong as 1 or 3. Oh, this is rich. This is a quote from the article. "The hiring signals continued faith in the project." Really? Which was announced to great fanfare. And let's see, let's click this link. They link it to, they just link it to the initial announcement from Hollywood Reporter. That's hilarious. Great fanfare. I'm sorry, I don't think that's true. Have you seen Twitter? Nobody is excited for this movie. Very few people are. I love Daisy Ridley as an actress. I cannot disagree that her movies have damage to the brand, and the way Rey was written, which is not her fault, has damaged Star Wars. And it's no wonder that people don't like her character, at least how she panned out in The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. I think she did a fine job in The Force Awakens. I don't think there's anything wrong with what she did or even her character in Force Awakens, but it's the doubling down on her being the quote-unquote bestest ever Jedi that really rubbed fans the wrong way, I think. It looks like Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy is still directing the project, and they talk about how this was initially supposed to be the next film after The Mandalorian and Grogu, but because of the apparent script delays and the talks going on with Ryan Gosling to star in Shawn Levy's film, it's delayed this film. I don't think that's what's entirely going on. If you watch the reporting from WDW Pro or even people like Nerdrotic, there is a lot going on with this film. I don't think it's happening. A lot of people saying that this is just a placeholder film. It's not actually going to happen. It's just Kathleen Kennedy's new pet project to push her weird, ultra-feminist view of Star Wars, which has been working great for the franchise. Because it's not like we are in a dire situation with Star Wars and that the franchise interest has been lower than ever, and nobody seems to understand how to fix that. And anybody who, has thought about firing Kathleen Kennedy hasn't just done it already because she probably has dirt on them. I don't know, just not like we're in a dire situation and Star Wars is dead as a doornail. Not at all like that, no. I don't think this movie's going to happen. I really don't. If it does, I wish Daisy Ridley the best. I hope that she can redeem Rey, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Too much damage has been done. The only Star Wars story I am interested in is something that involves Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia being reunited in this new post-Return of the Jedi era. I think that would give fans what they've always wanted. I know that there are a lot of controversial opinions about and different takes about using CGI recreations of actors and characters, especially actors who have passed, like Carrie Fisher. I think if it is to specifically recreate a character, I don't think it's as controversial as long as the families are on board and going along with the process and feel respected and appreciated and compensated. I know that the family of Peter Cushing with Grand Moff Tarkin didn't really feel that way. The initial belief was that they were involved, and now it appears maybe they weren't. It's still a dicey situation, but look, Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill are still alive. If they decide to do the CGI de-aging with them, I think that's fine. Doing it with Princess Leia, with Carrie Fisher having passed, is a very dicey situation. I don't know how you're going to handle that. But that is the only story I'm interested in, is seeing those characters get a proper I don't want to say send off, but just to see them again together and give fans what they were gypped of in the sequel trilogy, so that we can properly say goodbye to them and move on. And then Star Wars, I think, should just go away for a long time. I don't think we need a Star Wars project a year. I really don't like Bob Iger's mentality on utilizing these brands as if like every year they have to be performing like they're, I don't know, like they're a film studio and then they have to be churning out content all the time. Like I think that's really a bad approach to certain things. It's why you have a certain sect of fans, which I've talked about this with Toy Story. You have a certain sect of fans in all these different franchises who just want more. They don't care how good or bad it is. They just want more Indiana Jones, more Star Wars, more Toy Story, more Moana, more this, more that, more sequels, more reboots, more remakes, all that. And it's really killing the desire for new, interesting, compelling stories that are inspired by those great stories like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Toy Story, yada, yada, yada. And not allowing room for new stuff that could really improve the state of the culture. So my hope is that after this sequel bend that Disney is on to revitalize the brand, that they invest more resources in making original and unique stories, and that hopefully that will. And I don't mind sequels. I like sequels, but there needs to be significantly less of them. Like, did we really need a Gladiator 2? Having seen the movie, I really don't think so. I think it was really a waste of time, and it really didn't add anything to the original film. It was fun, but it really wasn't anything worthwhile. Anyways, that's my annual spiel on Star Wars. I'm excited for Shawn Levy's film. I think that has a lot of potential. I don't know if the Rey movie is going to get off the ground. I highly doubt it. Okay, so let's talk about... I do want to talk about the Mickey 17 trailer. I am really interested in this movie. It looks so fun, so cool, so fascinating. Bong Joon-ho, phenomenal director. Parasite was one of the best movies of 2019. I think it won Best Picture, if I'm not mistaken. I guess that is an example of a foreign film winning Best Picture. I guess that works, yeah. Phenomenal movie, phenomenal director, and I think that win is what got him the opportunity to direct Mickey 17. And I love how original, unique of a story it is. Robert Pattinson, Steven Yeun, Mark Ruffalo, who I wish he would stop talking about politics because it makes it very hard to enjoy him as an actor. But whatever. Toni Collette as well in the movie. Phenomenal cast. I'm really fascinated by this epic sci-fi adventure with these interesting existential questions about life and death and taking control of your life. I'm sure there's going to be a much deeper, more philosophical, possibly existential message. I mean, it's about a character who dies constantly and keeps getting cloned or remade. Somehow his soul is still linked to those bodies. It's a very wild, fascinating story. I'm just very excited for this. It's exciting to get hyped for an original movie like this. If you are somebody who wants more original films and wants Hollywood to make more, you really gotta pay attention to what is coming out, because there are a lot of original films that come out every year. Sure, you hear a lot about the sequels and the remakes and the reboots and all that, but there are original films that are coming out. And if you're not going to support them, you don't have a lot of room to complain when Hollywood doesn't make more. And I get it. Some of those original films are not catered to a wider audience. But some are. I think Mickey 17 could possibly be going in that direction. I mean, there could be some political, social commentary in the film. Parasite was a big commentary on classism and upper class, middle class lifestyles, and not necessarily demonizing one or the other. I really appreciated how it went about its storytelling. It wasn't trying to demonize one family or the other. It was just trying to tell an honest portrayal of two different types of families and how jealousy and greed can motivate people to make really horrible decisions that backfire in the way they did in that movie. But if you really like original cinema and you want to see more, go check this movie out. Unless the reviews are bad and it's woke and not a great film, then maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But if you want original films, you have to look for them and you have to support them if they interest you. And it's okay to take a risk sometimes. If you don't like a movie, if you feel like you wasted your money, at least you took a risk and you decided to see something that was original. And if you need help with that, I write a movie guide for Blaze News. Every month, I list out every movie that's coming out in theaters and on streaming, or at least most of them, the ones that I can keep track of and the ones that I think are worth your time. And I write up little synopses, and I try to include the cultural discussions, any controversy surrounding the film. I try to give you as much information as possible so you can make the best decision for you and your family if that movie is worth your money. And sometimes they're sequels, sometimes they're original films, sometimes they're all sorts of different types of movies. Artsy, mainstream, artsy, mainstream, superheroes, action, adventure, romance, drama. It's all there. And the whole point of that guide is for helping you decide what to do with your hard-earned money, because you deserve to make the right decision that you think is best for you or your family. It's your money, it's your life. If you want to take a risk, just take a risk. There's nothing wrong with, at least you've made the decision to see something that you decided, not someone forcing you because of a political agenda on either side. It's about making your own decisions. And then, of course, we can talk about how bad or good the movies are afterwards, but at least you made your own decision and you weren't influenced by one side or the other about what to see. And sometimes taking a risk is the best way to discover things that you didn't know you actually liked. So, yeah, really excited for Mickey 17. Hopefully you are as well. Let's see, got two more stories I want to get to, then we'll get out of here. Really quick, I want to comment on David Leitch. He's in talks to direct Ocean's 14. Never really thought I'd see the day that we would get Ocean's 14, especially with not just Bernie Mac, but also Carl Reiner, both passing away. I didn't think we would get the band back together for another Ocean's film. But here we are, and it doesn't even seem like we're going to get the whole band back together, at least for now. Only George Clooney and Brad Pitt are in talks to reprise their roles as Danny Ocean and Rusty. But that could change. I think it's interesting that David Leitch is in talks to direct the movie. Initially, I believe it was initially reported that, oh gosh, who was in talks to direct Ocean's 14 initially? It was supposed to be the guy who directed All Quiet on the Western Front, I think. But he directed Brad Pitt in Bullet Train. They must have had a good relationship and enough for him to want him to direct Ocean's 14, which is good because I think David Leitch is a great director. He's bounced around to a lot of different franchises, a lot of different projects. He did, I think he did the John Wick films, if I'm not mistaken. He directed, oh gosh, Deadpool 2. He directed The Fast and the Furious, Hobbs and Shaw. He did Bullet Train, and now he's going on to Ocean's 14. I think he's been consistently good in almost everything he's done, especially as an action director. And to do something that is not necessarily action-oriented, it's a heist thriller series, but very stylized, very cool, very laid back. It's very, I love these films. They're some of my favorites. Ocean's 11, so good, so good. So I think he's a very interesting choice. Hopefully it pans out for them. I'm just excited to see another film in this franchise. I don't think we needed an Ocean's 14, but if it's kind of tying up loose ends and allows us to see these original characters one last time and then maybe passing the baton on to a younger cast to carry the franchise, I don't know. I don't know if we really need that. Anything, honestly, to wipe out the taste of Ocean's 11, or not Ocean's 11, Ocean's 8, which I didn't think was bad. It was just, I think, a waste of time. They killed Danny Ocean for some reason. I hope that gets explained. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that movie. Hopefully it's worth the wait. Okay, lastly, I wanted to talk about some DC Studios news. This was just announced today. Apparently, they have casted an actor to play Sinestro in the Lanterns series, Ulrich Thomason. I do not know who this actor is. The article came from Deadline. Ulrich Thompson to play DC supervillain Sinestro in HBO's Lanterns. This is a series that's going to follow Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan as they go to Earth to investigate a murder in the American heartland. Very interesting setting and synopsis for a Green Lantern series, but I'm intrigued. I'm excited. I was really happy with the casting of Aaron Pierre as Jon Stewart. Big fan of what I saw of him in, what was that action movie he was in just last year? I don't remember, but I just saw that and I thought, this guy would be a great Jon Stewart, and happy to see he got casted. He was definitely my pick for the role. I'm not sure how I feel about a older Hal Jordan. I don't really like that. I kind of wish we had Hal Jordan in his prime, which scares me because I think that means they're going to kill him off in this series, and he's going to pass on his wisdom to a young Jon Stewart, and then he's going to pass the baton and R.I.P. Hopefully not, but I don't know. But either way, Kyle Chandler, he's not my first choice for Hal Jordan, but I think he's a good choice. I think he'll do a good job. I have not heard of this actor. I don't really, I haven't really seen any projects of him. He was in the series Banshee. He was in Trom, a Scandinavian series. He was in The Blacklist. He looks like he's done a lot of little bit parts here and there. For him to get a big role like Sinestro is really cool. So good for him. Happy to hear about that. I'm continue to be very excited for this series. Lastly, before we get out of here, I wanted to talk about that James Gunn released a statement about Supergirl starting production, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. They released a little set photo of Millie Alcock in a cast chair. The logo behind her on the chair is the Kingdom Come Superman logo, but it's blue in the middle and spray painted red, which is kind of an edgier version of the logo. I'm interested to see how this film performs. I'm not necessarily a big Supergirl fan, despite how huge of a Superman fan I am. But I am very excited to see how this movie does. I'm excited to see how this furthers the DC universe. This is going to be the way we see Lobo, played by Jason Momoa, retiring his Aquaman duds for the Lobo costume. If this is going to be, as they call it, a big epic sci-fi action-adventure movie, I'm all for it. If Superman's going to be the traditional superhero film and Supergirl is going to be kind of contrasting that with something more edgier, more intergalactic, I'm all for that. Here's his statement, James Gunn's statement on Twitter. Thrilled to see cameras roll at Warner Brothers Studios' Levingston on Supergirl. With Craig Gillespie at the helm, with the phenomenal Millie Alcock as our Kara Zor-El. Craig brings an incredible sensibility to this story, and Millie is every inch the unique Supergirl envisioned by Tom King, Bilisk Everly, and Anna Nogueira. I don't know how to say that name, sorry. I've heard people are not a huge fan. Some people are not a huge fan of Tom King's Supergirl story, and not a fan of Tom King himself. I've not read his stories. I don't know about him, but look, I trust in James Gunn and his vision for this universe. I've been a huge fan of what I've seen so far, and just his sensibilities and his approach to not just the creative side of things, but how the studio is being run, how they're not announcing films to meet a release date, but they're writing scripts and making those scripts finalized and the best they can be before going into production and announcing a release date. I think that's a phenomenal choice to make. It shows restraint. Yeah, Supergirl all the way. Up and away, baby. Let's do it. That's all we got today. Before we go, I just wanted to point out, I didn't mention this the first episode of the year, but I did change my theme song. I've been wanting to change my theme song for a while now, and I wanted the right tone, the right feeling. I wanted something more, as you can see with the visual style of the show. I've been going for something a little more throwback, more 80s, retro wave, synth wave, John Carpenter style, and I wanted the music specifically to reflect that. The first theme for this podcast was made in 2016 by Jacob Hodavi, and then I had it remixed, revamped by a professor of mine from JP Catholic, Robert Giracello, and then this new version, which is a total reinvention of anything I've done before with the theme song, is by my good friend Ryan Harner. If you have not seen his music or heard his stuff, I'll link his socials and his work in the description of this episode. He's a phenomenal musician, composer. He's one of my very close friends, and I'm very appreciative of him taking the time to make this. He spent a lot of time on this, and it was worth the wait because he gave me something that was exactly what I wanted, but also unexpected. So I really appreciate his work on this. I hope you guys enjoy the theme song. Let me know in the comments if you like it. If you don't like it, well, sorry. I can't do anything about that. I like it, so we're going to keep it. All right, that's the show, guys. Thank you for watching or listening. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. You can check out my short films, trailer reactions, other episodes of the Salerno podcast. I will see you guys next time. Have a fantastic day. God bless. And peace out.